Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. During the winter in Vermont, it's not uncommon to see cows outside in the pasture. Some farmers use winter grazing practices, which provide good nutrition for the cows and is more economical for the farmer than buying grain and hay. As we all know, it's been a very mild winter so far, but this is the time of year to learn about winter grazing and how farmers determine whether their animals should be outside. Across the Fence's Keith Silva introduces us to a Vermont farmer who utilizes winter grazing and whose animals are seen by thousands of passers-by on Interstate 89 every day.
Come on, cows! Come on, cows, come on!
This is how Bruce Hennessy rings the dinner bell.
That seems to work out pretty well.
It's late November, and long after the last leaf has fallen and the growing season has gone by, Hennessy continues to graze his cattle on 30 acres along the Winooski River in Richmond.
The cereal rye and the ryegrass has come up in this late fall, early winter period for our winter grazing program. We're doing some experiments with how far we can go without feeding hay to our cows. And we've been down here now since mid-October, about when the perennial grasses have kind of stopped growing. As you can see, we've had a nice crop of ryegrass and rye that's really doing well with our cows.
Late-season grasses aren't the only things that thrive in these cooler conditions.
These cows love being out, below freezing temperatures. They love being outside. They do extremely well. They develop extremely hardy winter coats. They have a good heated water source and minerals and a very closely sheltered area that they can get into when the wind gets whipping up and severe in here.
Winter grazing keeps animals on pasture longer, which in turn keeps more money in the farmer's pocket.
The more you can extend your grazing season, the more economical that'll be for your farm, and also the better it'll be for your cows, particularly cows you're trying to grow for meat production.
Along with benefiting the animals and the farmer, grazers provide gains beyond the farm gate.
The money that Bruce and the other farmers they make, that all stays in our local economy. I mean, Bruce uses a local fence guy, to build his fence for him. One of the main things that grass-based farms are really generally committed to is recognizing that they're supporting their local economies rather than supporting, a large grain farm out in the Midwest. Let me open up the VGFA webpage.
Colby works for UVM's Center for Sustainable Agriculture as a coordinator for the Vermont Pasture Network. She also oversees the Vermont Grass Farmers Association, a 300-member group that continues to grow in popularity.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the beginning people thought that grass farming was something like a fad, but it's really shown itself to become a trend. More importantly, the number of actual grazing farms has increased, and the number of dollars raised for grass-based farms has increased. And there are, farms cropping up in all different parts of the state and the region.
How many acres here, Bruce?
150.
150, and you rent 300 down in Richmond.
That's right.
Hennessy's home farm in Huntington brings to mind the old nursery rhyme about Old MacDonald. There are sheep, pigs, horses, chickens, and of course, cows.
We're a diversified farm, and what we try to do is have all the animals work together. They all fulfill a particular niche in our program. We'll have pigs in a certain area, and we definitely will graze through those areas, but then we'll put in cows, and then sheep will run behind them. And then after the cows and sheep have gone through, we'll bring chickens through, and they eat parasites, spread manures, spread out all sorts of different things, and actually cleanse the pasture pretty well.
Using animals instead of tractors and plows to work the land keeps Hennessy's fuel costs low, reduces erosion, and improves the health of the soil. Another innovation that Hennessy employs creates a kind of outdoor buffet line.
Well, we're seeing our brood cows up on the hill here. They are on hay right now. One of our methods on our steep ground here for actually distributing manure when we are feeding hay during the late fall and winter before they go inside is that we're taking our round bales and we're rolling them out in long strips. And we're trying to cover ground with that. And what that does is distributes manure all over the place rather than sitting a round bale down on the ground and having them all focus on a small circle. First of all, that gives every cow a place at the table. The other part of it is that this is pretty low-end hay. It's late first cut hay. It's something that you do see some waste out here, but we don't think of it as waste. We think of it as additional organic matter for the soil. And we've had great results with improving our fertility out here with that kind of program.
The practices of sustainable agriculture that are being used on this farm extend from Hennessy's own passion and philosophy.
Allowing the cows to do what they naturally want to do, go out and feed on the grasses that they've evolved to feed on, but also the thing I'm most passionate about is producing the healthiest possible food that you can produce.
Healthy food from healthy animals raised on healthy soil.
There is some potential just to let the grass grow then.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love letting the grass grow. That's right.
Whatever the season. In Richmond, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Well, thank you, Keith. For our next segment, we spotlight another important agricultural issue. The issue is safety. We've all heard the cliche, safety is no accident. Well, for farm workers, safety really is a matter of life and death. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, agriculture consistently ranks as one of the nation's most dangerous occupations. The department reports that more than 200 farm workers nationwide are injured every day, and about 5% of those injuries result in a permanent disability. University of Vermont Extension works extensively with farmers and their families regarding health and safety. Extension hosts workshops and conferences that highlight common safety issues and teach how to reduce or eliminate the problem. Let's rejoin Keith Silva with more on agricultural safety.
Safety is not guaranteed, especially when working with big equipment and large animals. Agriculture ranks as one of the most dangerous industries worldwide. Every day, 243 agricultural workers suffer a serious lost work time injury, according to the United States Department of Labor. At a recent conference for the International Society of Agricultural Safety and Health, agricultural professionals from around the world met in Vermont to network and to raise awareness about farm safety.
We have this idyllic picture of what farming is like, and that's not necessarily what it is. So the more we can help people understand that yes, farming is a wonderful way of life, but it also can be extremely dangerous, and all of those hazards and health issues can also impact what the consumers get. If a farmer is injured and can't maintain the farm, they may lose the farm.
University of Vermont Extension is a nationwide leader in the promotion and education of farm safety. Programs like the Rollover Protective Structure, or ROPS, provide farmers with a rebate to retrofit old tractors with rollover bars.
So it allows me to step up and then into the tractor.
UVM Extension's AgriBility program helps farmers who have been injured on the job or suffer from a disability due to farm work.
I think in some states they would be very envious of what's going on in Vermont and the amount of emphasis that's been put on ag safety and health. Some states do very well. It varies, but the more we can learn and see, that's one of the things we learn at conferences like this. We may find an agency or department that we hadn't even thought of that we could work with when we go back home to broaden that impact that we have and engage even more people in helping to understand that issue.
Farm families, especially children, are an important part of farm safety. UVM Extension's 4-H program works with its members to learn how to safely operate farm machinery and how to behave around farm animals that are often twice the size of the child. 4-H also provides outreach in schools by providing curriculum to teachers or taking part in safety fairs like this one at the Peachum School.
Many of these students here at Peachum come from farms because a farm is, especially to a child, very inviting. You know, children are very curious by nature, and they're drawn to a farm, to the animals, to the equipment, the tractors. My fear is that often, especially if they've grown up around a farm, they may be a little too comfortable around it. So I really wanted to make sure that they were aware of some of the dangers around the farm.
Farms are everywhere in Peacham pretty much. There's a farm right down there, and like if you're crossing the road and there's a big tractor that's blocking you and there's a car coming and the car doesn't see you can get hit and get injured.
We work very hard in making sure that youth are trained and can do age-appropriate tasks on the farm. They're our future. The average age of farmers are in the mid-50s or higher, and if we don't have young people coming up and learning how to farm and learning how to safely farm, again, we won't have that industry in the future. So it's extremely important that we involve youth in the farming operations, but make sure they do it safely.
In addition to information sessions and impromptu meetings with colleagues, these attendees hit the road to visit the front lines of agricultural health and safety, Vermont farms. One stop on the tour was the Conant farm in Richmond. A little bit of rain didn't dampen anyone's spirits as Dave Conant, his wife Deb, and their son Ransom talked shop in the farm's repair shop. The Conants were given the Vermont Governor's Award for Outstanding Workplace Safety in 2011.
We always want the back door to look as good as the front door. And if you have that attitude, then you tend to take care of both of them. There's a zero tolerance for any accidents, and so it's paramount to all of us. It's the most important thing that we can focus on. Everybody kind of sat here and we talked about safety issues. And
Vermont dairy farms are small compared to other operations around the country. Large or small, safety always comes first.
They have a farm safe program for this operation here. Not a lot of our farmers in Missouri have that type of program, and so that's a program that would be of benefit and interest to our Missouri dairy operators that are very large.
As the tour went through the barn and the milking parlor, Funkenbush saw several things that she's going to bring back with her to the Show Me State.
It is important to know and understand where our food comes from, but it's also very important to make sure that we keep the individuals that are producing our food production safe and healthy. And that is critical, and that's why we're here today. We're here to learn the importance that safety does come first, that health does come first, because if you don't have a healthy, safe family, you can't have good food. You can't have a good, healthy product out there for our American folks.
Kelly Donham of Iowa was impressed by how the Conants make safety and health concerns a part of their daily chores and routines.
As this particular farm right here has cut out sort of a wedge in their production system and their management system that includes safety. And I think too many of our farms, you said they're bigger in Iowa than they are. And it's not uncommon we're farming 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 acres. And that issue of safety is not on the radar screen. We need to be able to try to import some of that in our state and to make that a part of the management system and production system of each operation.
One phrase that is often heard during discussions about farm safety is, "It can't happen to me." Donham believes that farmers need to realize that there is no truth to this statement.
So we need to, to try to create that situation that it can happen to us. It really can. When you think about that and all of the things that happen, it's not just you, but the tremendous effect on your whole family when that happens, a tremendous effect on the community. We need to keep that in mind.
You can't afford any accidents, and we don't want anyone to be hurt. Whether it's to slip off a loader or a skid steer loader because you didn't go down the steps the right way, or and it sounds a little bit hokey, but you say, guys, hey, how about turning around and going down the right way,
On the farm or in conversations with colleagues, these agricultural professionals are always thinking safety first. In Richmond, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Well, thanks, Keith, and thank you for joining us. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.